If you're a business owner, you probably have the question, when should I actually start investing? And when should I invest into my business? These are really valid questions to have. And as business owners, we tend to just plow all of the money that we make in the business back into the business. It seems like a really good idea. And sometimes it is a really good idea. And I'll discuss why most gurus really say that that's the best thing you can invest in. If you're starting a business, the average business, if it's actually going to grow, it's actually going to make it, IRR, or the internal rate of return, or how much that business grows per year over the first 5 years, on average is 30%. So if you can invest money back into that and get to grow at a 30% APY, but you're talking about almost triple the S&P 500 returns in your own business, something that you have complete control over. So that's most of the time why gurus say, hey, you should only invest in your business until you're making X amount. Now the question comes is, what is X amount? What I don't like about this is you might be making really good money. You might be making 6 figures a year. You might be making 7 figures a year, but you think you should reinvest more into your business. And I think you should invest into your business, but no matter what, you allocate a percentage of your revenue that you take off the table. Farmers also have this tendency to take every dime that they make and plow it back into equipment, land, fertilizer. Of those 3 things I just named, only one of them actually provides a consistent ROI over time, and that's land. What happens when the farmers have a bad year? They can lose everything. What often happens is they end up with these really big operating loans to cover their expenses year to year. It doesn't exactly put them in a good situation for their future. So they do what they refer to as, taking profits and taking money out of the farm and going and investing it somewhere else, whether that's real estate, whether that's the stock market. And I recommend, as a business owner, you have to do the same thing, starting from day one in your business. And especially if you are young, because if you're 20 years old, you can look at that dollar that has the potential to be worth up to 80 times more, up to, I think, really 88 times more at 20 by the end of your life or by retirement. Because if you look at that, dollar multiplied by 10% a year over the next 40, 50 years, that dollar becomes extremely valuable. Its earning potential is huge. At the start of the day, you really need to identify what your goals are, what kind of retirement you want to have, what kind of lifestyle you want to live. And the other thing is a lot of like the Dave Ramsey folks, or if you follow Graham Stephan, meet Kevin, a lot of them will put, in my opinion, too much money away. Because even though that dollar might be worth more and more, the more time it has to grow, your joints don't work as good, your knees hurt, your back hurts, you're old, your kids are moved out of the house, all of these different things are not how they are today. So you really have to weigh the value of the dollar today versus the dollar you want in the future to decide how much you want to invest versus how much you want to spend now versus how much you want to invest back into the business. As a good rule of thumb, I like to see if you can at least invest, and this is different for every business, but if you can invest 10% of your take-home pay, that's usually fine. It's usually going to give you a good retirement, and it usually leaves you with some good spending money for when you're young. Now, the questions really come in is like, okay, do I want to put 20 or 30% away so I can retire when I'm 40 or 50? Those are different questions, and it's what you really have to decide. You might give up all of your 20s and 30s to have your 40s and 50s, or you might work through your 40s and 50s to have some time in your 20s and 30s. Now, the question is most likely for you is like, okay, that sounds great, but I have a really hard time keeping track of my finances. What I recommend to you is for your personal finances, you use a finance tracker like Rocket Money that helps you budget and actually track all of your expenses because you can link your bank accounts and credit cards up to it. Once you have Rocket Money set up for your personal finances, I recommend using Novo Bank for your business finances. I recommend them because you can set up different sub-accounts that aren't actually different bank accounts, so everything stays streamlined from an accounting perspective for your accountants. They're not going to blow a gasket when you have 5 different bank accounts, but it allows you to create these sub-accounts in the same account to put money in these different folders. And referencing Profit First earlier, this book does a great way of saying, hey, this much goes to paying your employees. This much goes to operating expenses to just run the business. This much is how much you need to pay yourself, and this is how much needs to go towards profit in your business. So at the end of the day, you have a really good system so that when money hits your bank account, it automatically gets divvied up. And that's all the money you have. And in the beginning, if you do this, it's going to hurt. It's not going to be easy. But over the long run, if you continue to utilize the tool and not dip into the accounts, that's the key part, you are able to really run a very financially sound business from doing this. And it makes all the difference in you like pursuing financial freedom and investing as a business owner. And it really allows you to do those different things like buy investment properties, invest in the stock market, buy bonds, buy other businesses, whatever it may be. It's the tool that I've used as we've grown Laney Media, and it's what has allowed us to invest the money that we have. Just for rough numbers, we actually are able to invest close to 10% of each dollar of revenue that comes in. So we invest a little bit more, like our personal income per se. Remember I was talking about earlier, your take-home pay versus business pay, but of actual business revenue, that's about how much we actually are able to invest, which we're really proud of doing, and hopefully that will benefit us a lot over time as that continues to compound and grow. So if this video was of any help, please subscribe to the channel as always, and I hope you have a wonderful day.